All right, hey folks, it's Saturday morning. Welcome to brunch. I'm a little later than I wanted this morning, but I was having a mishap with my camera. If I have to unplug my camera to plug it into my work computer, and if I don't plug the camera back into my home computer, it shorts out OBS, and I have to reload load it. So major, you don't need to know these things. Anyway, I'm here now. I'm happy to be. It was less of a problem than it had been in the past because I'm figuring out how to get it taken care of. But we're going to do some design work this morning. So let me check to see if my signal's coming here, and it sounds like it is. Drop that down here. We're live stream now. If you are catching this in the future, you can skip ahead like a minute or something to get past the preamble, the rambling, and we'll get into the thick of today. So, but if you're trapped here in space-time with me here now, or if you're new to the channel and you're wondering what's going on here, well, hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish online, and I'm creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. I've been doing so since 2017, publishing on the DMsGuild, but now with the new Player's Handbook and DMG, the 2024 releases, they've made some really fun modifications to the base structure of classes and the subclasses that warrants us updating content that we produced previously, including, and probably most importantly, to me anyway, is the 5-color mana spell point variant rules, which is a Magic the Gathering concept of the 5 colors, white, blue, black, red, green, that you have to have colors matching the cards that you want to play in the Magic the Gathering card game. But Magic the Gathering and D&D are owned by the same company, Wizards of the Coast. And in 2017, they started creating campaign settings for D&D using the Ravnica card sets. But what they didn't do, and I don't blame them, but what they didn't do was they didn't convert over the color magic system to D&D. And that's like the strongest flavor the game has. Like, that is the identity of cards and characters inside and locations inside of the Magic the Gathering world. So when they extracted that and dropped it into the 5e game engine for D&D, they kept the Vancian spell slot system and the 8 schools of magic, which I understand that decision. But we got really spoiled by Wizards of the Coast in 3rd and 4th edition, where if they came out with a new idea, they put out a whole new book about that idea, and there'd be like mechanics about how this world is different from other worlds, and here's all the new subsystems and resource systems that you can use, and all the feats and magic items and subclasses, classes, prestige classes, feats, magic items, creatures, and quest hooks for you to utilize these new ideas. And that was a 3rd edition mentality that caused for a lot of scope sprawl and a lot of potential resource mismanagement inside of building characters that kind of ground together. The 5e philosophy is take whatever concepts you're using and then translate them back down into the core mechanics that are inside of the player's handbook, which is a great business decision to keep the customer base unified and playing the same game. But it loses all of the flavor that comes from having a color magic system instead of an 8 schools. The 8 schools don't have any sensual input, where like with a color magic system, obviously you're looking at the colors that the magic is related to, and you can just tell by looking at it what kind of magic it is, which is just like incredibly deep narrative flavor that is laced through thousands of Magic the Gathering cards that easily translates into 5e game mechanics if you take the time to build out the mechanics to do so, which is what we did with the color mana spell point variant rules. But now that we have new rules, we get to use all of the past 7 years of me updating stuff and being able to rebuild all the books with the framework of this is now the 2024 rules that we'll be able to move forward with. So that's what we're doing. Just to tie all this off with a bow, today I'm at I'm on the X Twitter platform at Phil Kearney. If you're here as well, you can tag along and see all the different stuff that we're building here: coupons, look-sees, works in progress, invitations to play test, stuff like that. So I'm at Phil Kearney there, and on YouTube, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to get notifications of when we are live in the future. Thanks, guys. More subscribers. Really appreciate you guys taking an interest in this stuff. So here's the full list of color mana books that are already published on the DMs Guild, and they are all 100% free preview. You get all the assets and stuff if you buy it. Plus, when you buy a book, you're basically telling me to keep making more books, which is very appreciated. Here's the color mana spell list, like the basic revised color list. The tenets, or rather the 5 colors here. The different aspects of Magic, like the mechanical or thematic concepts that are inside of the Dungeons and Dragons game. How some of these ideas translates over to define what a color is. Like green is animals and healing, plants, nature, spirit. While white is divinity and healing, and protection, restraint, and light. While blue is air, illusion, mind, suppression, water, and black is control, entropy, fear, soul, darkness. Like soul, spirit, and divinity all have a similar feeling to them. Like white is healing, and so is green. White has divinity and soul magic to reincarnate people. So when you're using the system, it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So one spell point, first level spell. 9 spell points, 9th level spell. It curves out very smoothly. We've been talking about it for 7 years now, so check out some of the material that we have here, or stick around and hear more. But if it's a good berry, it's a healing spell, and it modifies plants, so it's a green spell and a white spell. So it only takes 1 mana to cast. You could use either white or green, as opposed to a 3rd level Fireball, which uses red magic because fire equals red. Fireball is red, is 3 mana. 1 point has to be red. The other 2 points can be anything that you want. Whenever you finish a long or a short rest, whether you regain mana or not on that rest, you can reconfigure what your mana is devoted to. Each point is devoted to 1 color. There you go. So if you run out of red, you can't cast Fireball anymore. But take a short rest. If you have any mana left over, you can turn some of that mana into red so that you can. The earlier in D&D you get, the more locked in spellcasters were with what they were casting. It used to be you get 1 spell a day. What spell is it? And then you have to decide what that spell is, and that's the spell that you get. And by the time you get the 5th level with 3rd level spells, right? It's how many fireballs? Well, I have 1 3rd level spell slot, so I'm going to make that 1 fireball. And then that's it. If you don't have a reason to use fireball today, you don't use your 3rd level spell slot. No flexibility. It increased flexibility as we continued progressing in the year through the additions. Wizards of the Coast really opened it up to here's a pool of spell slots, and here's your list of spells that that you have prepared right now, and you can use these spell slots on any of these spells. This is kind of a half step back towards that Beckme mechanic of how much mana do you have in red, how many red spells do you have. Well, you can cast those red spells as long as its red mana holds up. As soon as you run out of red mana, these spells are no longer useful to you. So it's a really fun, flexible system that lets you build a color narrative around your character's identity and the magic that they cast. If I'm going to throw if some guy throws a fireball at you, but it's made out of frost. So it's not a fireball, it's a frost ball instead. Maybe that person's using white or blue magic instead to change how that thing looks or how it interacts with the world environment. So if my character is say Boros, which is white and red magic, if I want to strictly adhere to the narrative of being a Boros character, that means I can only have white and red mana, which means if I have a blue spell out there someplace, like Hunter's Mark, for example, or a Hypnotic Pattern, for example, is blue, but you can make that white or red, right? You can narrate it that way. So if you just leave your mana as universal spell points and spin on whatever you want, you can just say that Hypnotic Pattern, you cast it as a white spell, and here's the visual effects that go along with it. Or you can be hard-nosed about it and say, well, if I want to cast Hypnotic Pattern, I need blue mana, but as a Boros character with only white and red mana, I can't have this spell. So what do? You can either research it, so it's the color that you want it to be, thus giving you a reason to dump money and have downtime activity to breathe life into your game world a little bit more. Or when you're preparing your spells, you can prepare it twice. Once in its native blue color, and then you learn it a second time so it's the actual color that you want it to be or have access to, like, say, white. That way you can get any spell that you want on your list, but you'll have less spells available to you, which is a great, it's a great flexible system to be able to do that. And if you feel like there's too much of a divide between marshals and spellcasters. This is a great way to bring the spellcasters back towards the marshals without having to take anything away from the spellcasters. It just makes them, they just now have an additional mini game that they get to play, which is how do I want to manage my mana and how do I want to manage my spells. And those two together, what's the most efficient thing I can do? And if with the color system as it is, it kind of requires you to be less efficient than just a player's handbook character, but still have the same breadth of options. You just have to manage it differently, so it becomes more challenging to be a spellcaster because you have to think about those things. Unless, like I'm playing as a white-green divine sorcerer of Selûne, and literally all the sorcery spells that I want are white or green, and all of the divine spells that I want from the clerics list are white and green. So it's like incredibly easy for me. I decided I wanted to have knock. So knock is what, a second level spell? And there it is, knock. And it's listed as a blue spell because it's breaking locks. It's breaking enchantments. That's a very blue energy sort of idea. But as a Selesnian character with only white and green mana, I don't get access to knock. So instead, I learned it, and then as a sorcerer, I learned it twice, as first as blue and then as white, so I could add that. And knock's a very useful spell if you make use of it. It's so far I've mostly used it as a rallying signal because you can hear it so far away, or as a distraction to enemies to try to pull them towards me so I can hit them with a web spell. So, excuse me, I'm getting over a cold. So the wizard is the most iconic going to be leaning into and gaining power, right? The wizards can learn anything. They research magic. They can build things. So this is a great system for them to use if you really want to lean into that I'm a wizard sort of thing. So that's what we're going to work on today. I think that's probably enough pontification. So yeah, check out the books on DMsGuild. I've got a lot of them, and we churn them out all the time. Monday through Friday in the morning, I do book art for books that I'm publishing. Tuesdays and Friday lunchtimes, I do design streams like this, obviously here on Saturday, as well as Monday and Thursday nights. Those are the 5 times per week that I do design work for secondary and tertiary projects. And then Monday through Friday in the morning is when I work on my primary project, which is an Eberron adventure. So go check that out. That should be publishing probably late February. And then all this mana stuff becomes my primary project, secondary project, and I think either Spelljammer or the Bastion modifiers that I have will become my tertiary project. So you can see that coming up here in the next few months. But stick around. We're going to be doing playtesting for all this mana stuff in 2024 here in just a couple weeks. So let's see. If we peel open the document here, we're going to go into the Martial Powers document. If you want to tag along with me today in stream, here is the document that I'm writing into right now. You can go through my Patreon. Don't have to be a member, but bless you if you want to help me. And that takes you to this read-only document, which is the same document that we are looking at right here and now. So the front end is all the martial powers stuff, converting martial characters into the mana system and giving them a separate magical system called powers. Martial powers, channeling power. It's all in the half casting progression. And it's not casting spells. You're not concentrating on things. So the barbarian can use that loophole to make use of it while raging or not. And there's about 180 different powers. Like 60 some odd of them are like cantrip effects. And then the other 110 of them are things that require mana expenditure. You're gaining mana on a half casting schedule, starting with mana at first level up to 20. It's all short rest for the martial characters. Is all short rest, just like a monk. Level 1 to 20, 1 to 20 mana, and then yeah. So we have all the core class build outs. We have all the modifications for the mana system built in. We've done all the subclasses. We've got the barbarian taken care of. We got the fighter done. We've got the monk taken care of, as well as the rogue. And again, you can look at all this right now if you want, in that link down below. And the rogue, and then we're looking at the half casters, which is paladin, and the ranger. Again, all this is from 2024 is what we've done for the past 2 months here. And yeah, artificer and warlock. Those can use martial powers as well as like bridging classes, like the martial, like the paladin and the ranger can freely prepare powers or spell casting. The artificer only has spell casting, but can prepare can infuse items with powers. And then the warlock can learn invocations, can learn powers as invocations. So those are the classes that can make use of power, but the full casting classes don't get use of these powers at all. It's just like a fighter doesn't get spells, a wizard doesn't get powers. So it's balanced in that sense. Then we have like the monster templates and stuff like that. So let's get down here at the end where we've been accumulating the. Right now we're working on the color magic for just the core mechanics book. We got Bard taken care of. We got Cleric taken care of. We did Druids earlier this week. And now we're going to go into Wizard. So I think I'm just going to grab the Druid template here. Yeah, let's just grab up all of this. We did Spell Point Sorcerers yesterday, but we're going to make that a separate book. The very basics of the Sorcerer will be in this core mechanics book, of course. But we've really been expanding on what Sorcerers can do. So I want to release the Spell Point Sorcerer very close to when I released the core mechanics. Wizard progression table. Wizard Yevel. So we're just fixing up the scaffold right now, and then we'll look at what needs to be changed. Wizard. I've got a little bit of a stuffy nose today, but I'm better than I was yesterday, so. Let's double check real quick to make sure that I'm actually visible. Yeah, good. I went half the session, half the Sorcerer, the hour and a half that I spent yesterday at lunch on Sorcerer was like 45 minutes, was just looking at my loading screen while I'm talking in the background. I'm like, oh my god. So I fixed that. So Wizard, we're going to look at the scaffolding of the Wizard. We're going to flesh it all out as we should. So we're going to go to D&D Beyond. We're going to go to Game Rules Classes. We're going to drop down to the Wizard. So we're doing the scaffold, like the base scaffold for all the classes. And then we go back through and we do the subclasses. There's 4 subclasses per class in the player's handbook. So that's what we're focusing on here right now, is the subclasses to demonstrate how the mana system not only modifies base structure, but also subclass options for each of these classes. I've got a handy mug of coffee here I'm going to take a swig of. I've got my timer going here on my clock. I've got about 2 hours right now for me to be able to do stuff. If we can get done with the Wizard efficiently today, then we're going to start looking at the Beckme style gold piece equals experience point system and integrate that into the mega dungeon that we're going to build for our playtest environment in November. So I think I'm going to, just simply focus on that for now. Yeah, we'll get the Wizard done and then we'll reassess and see where we're at. So we got a few weeks left, and later on today I'm going to be posting on Patreon just a poll for my Patreon supporters to ask which day do we want to playtest, Mondays or Saturdays. Those are the two, like right now, if my Patreons and Discord channel decide that we're gonna playtest on Saturday, I will not be here on Saturday like I am right now. That will become a gaming day. But instead, if they choose Monday night, then my Monday night design stream will go away, and we'll be playtesting. And this playtesting is going to proceed from November through March, 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. There's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, there's 4 blocks of testing. So this first round is going to be for 3rd and 4th level. The next round will be for 5th and 6th level. Third round will be 7th and 8th, and then the last round will be 9th and 10th. We've already done a lot of play testing earlier this year and at the end of last year. Basically from October through March, we did play testing from level 16 to 20, which worked out really well. So, and there's been nominal changes needed at the high end. All of the work that needs to be done is at the low end to make sure that there is a good sense of play and efficiency and use of resources to make it feel good to play from level 3 to 10, because from level 11 to 20, I already know it's okay. I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 250 hours. I'm currently going through my 4th campaign in 5th edition right now through that route. And we've been using the mana system for the past 7 years at my home table, and that's a ton of time to accumulate a lot of information that I now get to rebuild and share in these core mechanic books. So back on course, let's look at our Yizzard. Yizzard gets 25 spells. That's right, they start with 4 prepared spells and gets to 25. I love that. So let's extract this here. There we go. And if you're swinging through the channel, bless you for being here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. How do you jump up so much? 4, 5, 6, 7, and then it jumps to 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 12 to 14, 15, 16, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's weird. 4. I'm going to do it a little differently. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we get to high magic at 11. So I'm going to give you a second spell here at 11 instead. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. We get epic spells at here, so that should be 24. And then 25. There we go. That tracks. And the amount of mana that we get starts with 2 and ends with 80. Yep. And let's see. Cantrips. Cantrips starts with 3. Do you have the same scaffold of 3, 4, 10 forever? 3, 4, 10 forever? 3, 4, 10. Yeah. It's just so empty. Feels wrong. I just feel like you should have a 6 cantrip at 19th. So that's what I do. Call me wrong. I don't care. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 5. And what? Wizard gets 6? Is that right? 6. 3, 4, 5. What was that? Cleric? Cleric gets 6. Bard gets 2, 3, 4, and then at 19th level 5. There we go. And I'm going to peel open the sorcerer real quick. There we go. Spell point sorcerer. Four, 5, 6, and 7, the most. Three, and then 5 because of the meta magic. Nine, 10, 11, 12, and then 10. You get 14 at 10 because of the meta magic. And then 18th level again should be a 2-level jump. There it is, 21, 23, 24, 25. 18, level 2, and then 8 levels later, 10, and then 8 levels later is 18th level. So you jump to 17, there you go. Okay, cool, so I'm gonna hit save there. Spell point Warlocks, or Spell point Sorcerer is coming along very, very nicely. Both Spell point Sorcerer and Spell point Warlock should be updated pretty quickly. I mean, comparatively. I'm not going to release them until the DMG is available in case there's any hanky mechanics I need to think about, like for research and stuff like that. I just want to make sure it's thorough so I don't have to make any changes. I'm technically not in any hurry. But so we got that taken care of. The Bard. I like that progression now. Let's go down to the Wizard again. There's cantrips. Is there anything else that these dudes have? They have cantrips, prepared spells, bonus proficiency class stuff. Okay, I can just get rid of this then. We can delete this column. Danku. And let's get back into here. Spellcasting, Ritual Adept. Ritual Adept. And Arcane Recovery. Scholar is level 2. Level 3 is Wizard Subclass. ASI. Memorize Spell. Subclass 6. 7 blank. ASI. 9 blank, 10 subclass feature, 11 blank, 12 ASI, 13 blank, 14 subclass feature. The wizard and the druid still completely coincide in their subclass scaffolding, which means that we can still have strict classing between druid and wizard uninterrupted, which means that I can potentially sustain having Nature's Ally as a strict class option. But we do need to pay attention to the fact that there are no summons anymore, so we're going to have to bend around that a little bit. 15 is blank here. 16 ASI, 17 is blank, 18 is Spell Mastery. Epic Boon, Signature Spell. There, that's our scaffold. So let's go through and see what remains viable and what needs to be changed. So we know from the sorcerer, when we built the sorcerer, we got rid of the sorcerer's recovery because the sorcery points were merged into the mana pool of the so the sorcery points and the mana pool became the same thing. So instead of capping at 80 mana plus 20 sorcery points, it now just became 100 mana that the sorcerer gets across its 20 levels. But I am aware here that the wizard has the Arcane Recovery. So first off, let's look at Ritual Adept. You can cast any spell as a ritual if that spell has the ritual tag and the spell is in your spell book. You needn't have the spell prepared, but you must read from the book to cast a spell this way. That's a very 4th edition idea. 4th edition allowed anyone to cast rituals if they had it written down and they had the ritual casting either as a class feature or as a feat. So that let fighters do rituals as well, which I love. I think that's fantastic. It doesn't actually require any changes here. So the base rules in general are, and I should probably go fetch those again. Go fetch them. Yeah, here's our rules in general, which is if a feature is not listed on the progression table, it has been removed. If a feature is listed on the progression table but not described further below, it is unchanged. And if a feature is listed on the progression table and described further below, it's either new or a variant rule. And we put a tag behind it if it's a variant rule, like what it's modifying. Like Bardic Inspiration, there you go. It's a variant feature as opposed to a new feature, which we don't have a lot of in the base class. We mostly just remove things. So let's get back into you, Wizard. And so Ritual Adept is good. Spellcasting is fine because we have a whole chapter about modifying spellcasting using the mana system, so I don't need to Repeat that here. Arcane Recovery, though, let's look at that. You regain some of your magical energy by studying your spell book when you finish a short rest. You can choose to expend spell slots you can choose expended spell slots to recover. The spell slot can have a combined level equal to no more than half your wizard level rounded up, and none of the slots can be level 6 or higher. For example, if you're a level 4 wizard, you can recover up to 2 levels worth of spell slots, regaining either 1 level 2 spell slot or 2 level 1 spell slots. Once you use this feature, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. Okay, we can retain that. It doesn't have to be so complicated because we have a cap on how many. The way that D&D as written controls high magic, level 6 and above. We call it simple magic if it's a cantrip or ritual. It's common magic if it's level 1 to 5, and if it's level 6 and up, it is high magic. And Wish, which is the only 10th level spell, which you gain at 19th level as a full caster, that's epic. So you have simple, common, high, epic. Those are the 4 tiers of magic that exist using this system. So we're going to grab Arcane Recovery. We're going to pop open there. We're going to copy, erase. You regain some of your magical energy by studying your spell book. When you finish a short rest, you can choose expended spell slots to recover. The spell slots can have a combined level equal to no more than half your wizard level rounded up, and none of the slots can be level 6 or higher. For example, if you're level 4, you can recover up to 2 levels worth of spell slots, regaining either 1 second level or 2 first level spell slots. Scholar, while studying magic, you also specialize in another field of study. Choose one of the following skills in which you have proficiency. Blah 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 blah. You now have expertise. Okay, so I can skip. We'll keep Scholar, but I can skip over describing it. Arcane Recovery is dangerously close to getting cut because you have a ton of flexibility. Arcane Recovery. But let's assume we're going to keep it for now. And if we do, how does it look? See, you don't really need an extra spell slot. The reason why they want to give you extra spell slots is because you don't have a lot of flexibility using Advancing in Magic. You don't actually need that flexibility, but you are getting extra mana per day. So that is something I'm thinking about. You regain some of your magical energy by studying your spellbook. When you finish a short rest, you can choose. You can regain mana equal to half your wizard level. There. Round it up. So that tacks on an extra 10 mana over the course of your character's life, and you gain 1 at third. So that means that we could take the wizard to 90, right? Because they're going to get 10 over the course of the day, and they only get it once per long rest, instead of having a mechanic like Arcane Recovery that requires you to use a short rest to get some of your mana back once per long rest. Why not just increase the mana pool so that you just have an extra 10 mana over the course of the day, since apparently that's what they want us to do. We start with 3, we end with 90. We already have a progression scaffold, so it's every other level. We're gaining 1. So what would this be? 9, and then this would be 17, and then this would be 25, and this would be 33, and this would be 41. Then we just have to rebuild the scaffold, and we should be fine. 48, 57, 66. And what? 76? Hey, Chronic, how you doing, my guy? So, yeah, we're working on the wizard today. We just got started. So, we start with, because they have the Arcane Recovery at first level, they're effectively gaining 1 additional mana per day. They normally get 2 mana to start with. The Arcane Recovery has you spend a short rest to gain 1 extra point of mana using the system. So, instead of making that a feature, we're just increasing the amount of mana that you get. If you get 1 extra mana every long rest, and you only have 2, that technically means that if you were to take a short rest at some point, you would have 3 mana per day. Why not just get rid of the short rest requirement? That is a redundant mechanic that isn't really necessary. So because they use spell slots in the player's handbook, they need to find a way to give you additional spell slots without giving you a ton of spell slots. So they come up with this recovery system because they're pre-choosing how many points of mana go into each slot that you get, and effectively over the course of 20 levels, using the normal structure, the actual structure of spell slots. At 20th level, you actually end up with 89 levels worth of spell slots, and then they give you 10 more in the form of like maybe 2 5th level spell slots as well. So in reality, your character has 4, 3, 3, 3, 5. 2, 2, 1, 1, or 6. It would be 14. 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 1, 1. Right. So you're gaining all these. You're gaining an extra 10 spell slots that you can divide up any way you want. But if it was all liquid anyway, that would effectively be you got 89 out of just the normal slot here. Just add those up, and it's 89. And then you get the extra 10 from Arcane Recovery, that's 99. But we've trimmed back the amount of mana that you need in general. 80 as our baseline for base classes gives you 30 mana that goes towards your 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, because 6, 7, 8, 9 added is 30, which leaves you 50 points for your 1st to 5th level spell, which means you can do 50 1st level spells, or you could do 10 5th level spells. So, and like we were talking about yesterday, the attrition concentration mechanics, all the really broken spells in D&D are mostly concentration spells. You don't really hear people say that instant effect is broken. For the most part, it's like it does a lot of damage, but it's not broken because it doesn't just bend the physics of the game. Virtually everything, all the spells that break the physics of the game engine are concentration effects. So if you have a concentration system that's very fragile, where if you get dinged, you're probably going to lose your concentration, then that becomes a tactical situation that you have to resolve. How am I going to keep myself from getting dinged by bullshit, causing me to lose 5 or 7 mana worth of spells that I'm concentrating on right now and have to recast it, burning my character's action economy and resources to get back to where I was before I got dinged. God damn, I just got dinged again. You know? So that really makes your wizard and your cleric with all these super powerful spells, they're only powerful depending on how safe they are. So it's a really fun dynamic. And if anyone wants to playtest that stuff and explore it, I think you're going to find that it really changes the way that your team approaches combat. And you'll find that the martial characters that are capable of shrugging damage are going to be able to act as that tanking control shield to keep things off of the casters, to actually make the party feel like what the fantasy of these parties is actually supposed to feel like, because the mechanics that we're including into these systems reinforce the style of gameplay that the fantasy genre implies. Fragile, amazing, powerful casters, incredibly brutal, and single target or sustainable effects coming off of martial characters, which is what this entire system is built to do. So, yeah, it all sits inside of the 5e game frame with just some modifications. So, I still got the sniffles. I think I'm better than I was yesterday. You know what? I'm gonna pop another pill. I'm gonna be right back. Sorry. I feel like I should be on drugs. All right. Blah, blah, blah. I haven't had a head cold in a while. I'm not going to say it feels good, but it certainly helps me feel human. So, yeah, we do not need Arcane Recovery. All we have to do is just rework the mana pool. So, 3 mana. Let's see. To 90. And since we're doing a separate progression table for each class, this works out. We don't have to have a front end scaffold. We can just introduce the concept and the spin system and the spell casting up front, and then get into the classes and look at how each class handles their mana. Let's see, 3, 5, 9. This would be 71. That's a little goofy. Okay, let's work our way through this. 3, 5. We have benchmarks that we want. Do we have benchmarks that we want to hit? Let's see. If I have 40 mana, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85. 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90, 45. So we'll put 45 at 11. Which means, we can have 40 at 10, right? 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90. Nice. There. Good scaffolding top end. Now what you need to do is get from 3 to 40 in 10 levels. So let's start working it backwards. It's going to be less than, what's it going to be? 36, 32, 28, 24, 20, 16, 12, 6. That's a 12-point spread there. That's a 5-point spread. That's too far. 3, 6. Let's go with 35 here. 31, 27, 23, 19, 15. Let's see. What was it? 2, 5, 2, 4, 8, 12. We're figuring it out. 3, 5, 9. 3, 6, 9. Let's see. If we were 5th level, if we were 6th level, with access to 3rd level spells, we'd get Arcane Recovery of 3 spell slots. So it's going to be 3 spell slots, and we're looking at level 6. Let's use that as our pacer, right? Level 6. 4, 10, 19, plus 3 is 22. 22 at 6th level. How are we sitting? 23 at 6th level. Okay. Minus 4 is 19. Minus 4 is 15. 19, that'd be 22. Let's see if we can benchmark a way down. 5th level should be 6, 16, and 3 is 19. So that's supposed to be 19. And then here at 4th, it's going to be +2. It's going to start with 2. That's 6. Plus 6 is 12. So that's supposed to be 12. And then 3rd is also 2 points. So 2. And then that's 6. That's 14. Wait, something went wrong. 4th level. 4th level is 3 times 2 is 6, plus 4 is 10, plus half is 12, correct. And then 3rd is also 2, 7, 11, thank you. That should be 11. Really? 6, 10, 12, 8, thank you, 10. Right, 10. That's where this is at. And then 2nd is we start with 1. And then we get 2 more, so that's 4. And at 1st we get 2 plus the arcane recovery of 1 point is 3. So this is our scaffold. This is what their official scaffold is in spell points using the arcane system from level 1 to 6. Can we smooth that? 3, 5. I'm going to take a snapshot of this real quick here. Just so we have it for reference. So if we go 3 and then 5. 3, 4, 10. God, what a jump. 3, 4, 3. If we go 3, 7, 11. 3, 7, 11. Then we can go to 15. 3, 7. Yeah, 3, 7. Let me do 3, 6. 3, 6. That's 3 points. Let's make it 4 points. 4 points. 5 points. 5 points. That would be 30, 26, 22, 18. So we start with 3, we gain 3, we gain 4, 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 we gain 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5 up the ladder. Okay, so that pans out. 13th level we have 55, while up here 13th level we have 48. So this goes 5 points, 5 points, 5 points, 4 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 points, 2 points. For the Druid, which doesn't have any kind of recovery mechanics anymore. And that is 4, that's 8 points at 3rd. 8 points at 3rd here for the Druid. And then 4th level is 4, and so that's 10 points. 4 has 10. 4 has a little bit more, 12 here. 5 has 16. Here we have 5 has 10, 16. 5 has 16. Here we have 5 has 16. 6th level has 20. Here we have 6th level has 19 versus our 20. So it's within a point or two. So there's a little bit of fudge room that they gain. But overall, the scale of power stays fairly smooth. This is for the Druid. And then we have the Wizard. Now the next question is, at any point does the Wizard outscale the Sorcerer? So let's go back in and look at our Sorcerer again real quick. Because the Sorcerer should have the most. 3, 6, 10. 3, 7, 11, 16. 14. 5th level 21. Here, 5th level is 18. Okay, cool. We're scaling out. We are outscaling. Okay, cool. That's good. So spell point sorcerer locks in solid. Immediately starts outpacing the wizard at 2nd level when you get your sorcery points. Perfect. Okay, cool. So this scaffold works. 3 points, 4 points, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, forever. 10th level, 40 points. I like that. Okay, great. So we no longer need Arcane Recovery. Good call. This is the process that we go through. So hopefully this is fun for people to participate in. We already figured out Scholar is good. It just grants expertise. Did we get that at 1st level? Did I do that wrong? No, Scholar's at 2nd. Arcane Recovery got rid of. Ritual Adept, cool. Okay, we're good. And then let's go to the next thing. Scholar, cool. Wizard subclass, cool. ASI, cool. Memorize spell, 5th level. What does that do? Whenever you finish a short rest, you can study your spell book and replace one of the level 1 plus spell levels, 1 plus wizard spells you have prepared for your spellcasting feature with another level 1 plus spell from your book. Okay. So you get to swap. We don't have to. We don't have to add memorize spell. We don't have to modify it, but it stays. It's good. And then spell mastery. Oh my god, this is really efficient because there's not much going on. Spell mastery. You have achieved such mastery over certain spells that you can cast them at will. Choose a level 1 and a level 2 spell in your spell book that have a casting time of an action. You always have those spells prepared, and you can cast them at their lowest level without expending a spell slot. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend a spell slot. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can replace them. Okay. Sure, why not? We do have to modify it, though, because of the spell slot language. We don't have spell slots, so whenever it mentions spell slots, we change it. Cut. Level 18. Spell mastery. You achieve this mastery over time. Choose a level 1 and level 2 spell in your spellbook that you have a casting time on action. You always have them prepared, and you can cast them at their lowest level without expending mana. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend mana as normal. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can study your spell book and replace one of those spells with an eligible spell from your spell with the same level from the book. Okay, that's good. And then we can take level 20. I suspect we'll be changing signature spell. Choose 2 level 3 spells in your spell book as your signature spells. You always have these spells prepared, and you can cast each one of them once at level 3 without expending a spell slot. When you do so, you can't cast them this way again until you finish a short or long rest. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend a spell slot. Whenever you finish it, wow. So 2 free spells. This is making up for the mana pool, and I don't fucking feel like it's necessary. 3 mana from Spell Mastery, a 1st level and a 2nd level spell. And then you have 2 3rd level spells, so that's 9 additional mana. So essentially, from all the class features, this guy's getting effectively, oh god no, but you get him back every short rest. Huh. When you do so, you can't cast them this way again until you finish a short or long rest. All right, we'll keep it in place. I'm not 100% happy with that. I don't like the mechanical language about like if you cast something with a spell slot, you're limited on how often you can use them, sort of shtick. It's just to me it's unsatisfying. But signature spells. Choose 2 level 3 spells in your spellbook. As your signature spells, you always have them prepared. You can cast each of them once at level 3 without expending mana. When you do so, you can't cast them in this way again until you finish a short or long rest. To cast either spell at a higher level, you must expend mana as normal. Period. There are extra spells. We could technically eliminate them. I'll keep them in place. I'm not 100% happy with it, but it does give a expend mana to cast either at a higher level. You must expend mana as normal. It's good enough. Okay, so that completes Wizard. That means we've completed all of them. We already have the Warlock taken care of further up in the document. We have the Artificer further up in the document. We have Spell Point Sorcerer in a separate book completely right now, which we will be importing into the Core Mechanics book overall. So we've finished these things. It's 10:30 now. I think I'm going to want to spend maybe at least a half hour today looking at Bekmi, the old BX, the old original box set, original Dungeons and Dragons. The way that they built experience points in the original D&D is that you didn't get experience points for doing anything other than looting treasure. You could frame an adventure like, I will give you a reward of X amount of treasure. So it was it's like a meta currency almost. Treasure is measured in gold pieces, and gold pieces is also experience points. So GP versus XP, it means the same thing when it comes to treasure. Treasure is converted either into wealth or into experience, but not both. So in the original D&D, when you gain treasure, you would decide, do I want to keep this treasure because like maybe it's a magic sword. I want that magic sword. I now have a magic sword. Or I could sell that magic sword and gain gold to buy something else with. Or I could sell that sword and convert that gold into experience points instead to potentially gain another level. But back in the days of BX, Basic Expert, Bekmi, BX, it's all the same. OSR, a lot of this is all the same thing. But back in the day, this GP equals XP means that your character's primary concern was pulling treasure out of the dungeon. Here's the socioeconomic impact of that. Adventurers would go into dangerous places to extract wealth that they would then take to the community where they could convert it into gold to purchase and sell for resources, or they would just blow the gold in that town to be able to gain experience points. And one of the things that I thought was interesting is that they never really addressed like how capable is a community at absorbing wealth at all. Like if you have a 17th level character roll in with 200,000 gold, say they need 70,000 experience points to gain a level, and there's 3 characters in the mix, and there's 10,000 gold shy of gaining level 18, right? Or if there's 4 characters on the team, and they have they're 80,000 shy of gaining a level, so they're just going to hang on to that cash. But what if they were 7th level, and they only needed 10,000 gold each? Can a village with 150 people in it safely absorb, like even
like logistically be able to absorb 40,000 gold or 200,000 gold or even 5,000 gold? I'm going to say potentially no. So one of the ideas that I think that I like here is that when your characters loot treasure, for them to be able to convert the gold into experience points or to convert the treasure into gold, they're going to be capped. Like treasure remains a meta resource until you get to a location that's capable of processing it into gold or experience points. So there's settlements, there's villages, there's towns, there's cities, and then there's metropolis. These are the 5 tiers of community that exists basically inside the D&D game, or just in general. That's basically how you can tier the different, like you can strata the different structure, like the different levels of society, right? Like a settlement might have like maybe up to 100 people in it. A village might have up to 1,000 people in it. A town might have up to 10,000 people in it. A city might have up to 100,000 people in it, and a metropolis might have up to 1 million people in it, or well, like more than 100,000, like 1 million or more, and you're definitely inside of the metropolis range. Like Waterdeep, for instance, has I think like 2.5 million people in the surrounding 50-mile area around it. So like Waterdeep itself might only have 1.8 million people in it, and then have ancillary 700,000 people in farming villages and settlements in the 50-mile area around Waterdeep. So when you look at Waterdeep as a community hub overall, it might have resources in surrounding territory feeding 250 million souls into it as their total population cap, but actually inside of the capital, like actually inside Waterdeep, I believe it's 1.2 million. So that's something worth considering. This is actually something that we've dived really deep into the details with the Guilds and Kingdoms book that we've been developing. It was the precursor to the Spelljammer book. So it was over a year ago that we were working on that. But I still have the live stream of Armies, Guilds, and Kingdoms. You can go look at at the playlist and see what we were messing around with there. That system is still very much alive, and I've been playtesting it for the past 8 months in my home table right now to be able to build a guild system that's fast, loose, and narrative that doesn't get in the way of your gameplay, but completely works with 5e. So it's a very, very, it's a very malleable, crunchy, like has just enough crunch to make like skill checks and skill tests using the system through your characters, while implementing like this Bastion idea with more flexibility. So we will be building that as a secondary or tertiary project here after the DMG comes out. Not to show cards or anything, but I've been talking to Adam Hancock, who was my editor for Spelljammer, who created Baldron's Guide to Kingdom Building, which was the inspiration behind the Guilds and Kingdoms mechanics that I've been developing here. We're going to look at whether or not it makes sense for us to bend the Bastion system or just to let that one go and stick with the Guilds and Kingdoms. For everything that I've seen so far from the UA and Nerd Immersion and Jenny D walking through the Bastion process, it looks like Guilds and Kingdoms is still a far superior project, and we'll probably be taking that. The plan is to take that out into Kickstarter and put on DTRPG as like a Creative Commons project, because the D20 scaffolding system that it uses works with D&D 3E, 4E, and 5E. Technically, you can work with 2E if you're fine with ascending D20 die rolls. It works great with Pathfinder 1 and 2, as well as Starfinder 1 and 2. It works with Mutants and Masterminds. It works with Cypher System. It works with Shadow Dark, and it works with OSR. So those are 7 systems offhand that all use a D20 die roll that these mechanics work with. But I digress. We'll get back. We'll start working on that after probably sometime in November at some point. Now, it'll be a tertiary project, but keep an eye out. Like, subscribe, blah, 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 and you'll be seeing that in about a month. Us developing it. It's really heavy, crunchy mechanic. It's like Rollmaster level of crunch right now, which is too dense. It needs to be lightened. And from everything that we've seen so far with PHB 24 and DMG 24, we'll be able to successfully lighten that system to be effectively skill checks or like skill challenges. It'll be really smooth and liquid.
So I'm looking forward to that. Too many fires in the iron, man. Got to stoke that flame. So we have our mana scaffold. We have our class progression good. We're talking about Back Me, but I don't think I quite want to get into that yet. I think I want to start in on wizard subclasses. Why not, right? I got time. So let's go down here and just grab the basic stuff that we have for scaffolds like this. God, I forgot that the Barbarian was on the 3, 6, 10, 14. So the Barbarian, the Druid, and the Barbarian, Druid, and Wizard, all three of those classes are on the 3, 6, 10, 14 scaffold. I think that's the perfect scaffolding for subclasses. I think it's a real shame that we don't have that same scaffolding universally across all classes. But it is what it is. Yeah, fighters all over the place. It's got the 5 things, which is the weird one. And let's get down into monk to remind us how the monk sits. It's at 3, 6, 11, 17. Yeah, it's just a shame that the scaffold's off like that. Yeah, this one's 3, 5, 9, 15. It's like slightly off. Let's go back up to the Warlock because I forgot what its scaffold is. 3, 6, 10. Yeah, 3, 6, 10, 14. So Barbarian, Druid, Warlock, Wizard. Those 4 are all on the same subclass progression. If I were to redo 5e, and I probably will eventually completely rebuild it, I would be using the Barbarian and the Warlock scaffold as like the only 2 scaffolds, and then to be able to build Strix classes across the scaffolds. So we'll get into that eventually. That's like a 2027 project. So for now, let's build subclasses. So we'll start with the Wizard. And Wizard subclass. I guess they just call them Wizard subclass now. Wizard subclasses. Wizards gain all the subclass features with the below modifications. If a feature isn't described here, it remains unchanged as written in the player's handbook. Abjurer. I'm gonna take a swig of coffee. Hey, what's up? That's okay. Chronix, I'm thrilled that you're here. You don't owe me shit. No one owes me a goddamn thing in this world. It's all personal investment. It's all voluntary participation. If you enjoy the study hall environment that I present and it creates a soothing atmosphere or something that you find productive to do dishes to or something like that, then I am serving that purpose in your life. You're never obligated to engage or provide anything, and I never know if you're here or not. So I could be in the middle of a conversation, your internet could go out. How would I know? So never feel guilty and never have to apologize to anyone for anything, unless your heart compels you to do so, in which case, thank you. So we're looking at the Abjurer. We get do we get Abjure spells? They don't. Ooh. I think they just get Abjure spells, right? Is that how that works? Abjure Savant. Choose 2 wizard spells from the Abjuration School, each of which must be no higher than level 2, and add them to your spellbook for free. Okay. We just ran into our first complication because we did away with the 8 schools of magic, and we replaced them with color mana. So how do we resolve that? I think what I need to do is look at the rest of the subclasses, right? Divination Savant, choose 2 wizard spells of Divination School. Evoker, choose 2 wizard spells from the Evocation School. Illusionist, choose 2 wizard spells from the Illusion School. Are you sensing a pattern? Thanks, Chronix. Okay, so we have a pattern here where whatever your subclass is you're gaining spells. Choose 2 wizard spells from the Abjuration School, each of which must be no higher than level 2, and add them to your spellbook for free. In addition, whenever you gain access to a new level of spell slots in this class, you add 1 wizard spell from the Abjuration School to the spellbook for free. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 17. Takes it. Okay, so yeah, third. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 17. That's where it caps with 8 spells. You can add 1. 3, 5, 7, 9. 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 17, 19. The chosen spell must be of a level. Why are you only getting 8? You used to get 10, but now you only get 8. Why is it that, in addition, whenever you gain access to a new level of spell slots, do I get another bit somewhere? You always have the counter spell and dispel magic spells prepared, so those permanently turn on. So that takes me to 10. That's where my other 2 are at. That's 10. Two, and then 1 per spell slot takes me to 8. Is there spells that I get for free in here too? Third eye. You gain dark vision, blah, 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 greater portent. Evoker, 2 spells. Sculpt spells. Doesn't look like it. I don't... Huh. Okay. Well, before I cap that off, like before I make a judgment there, let's instead go visit. Let's go visit the other full casters. Let's see how they're handling bonus spells, shan't we? So let's go to the College of Dance. Inspiring movement, tandem footwork, College of Glamour. Their performance stir up wistful longing for forgotten blah. Huh. Okay, it doesn't look like the bard's gaining bonus spells anymore. How about the cleric? Yeah, bard doesn't get bonus spells. Cleric gets bonus spells. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Okay, so the cleric's getting bonus shit. Let's go to the druid, see if they get bonus shit. Whenever you finish a long rest, choose one type of land. Arid, blah, 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 blah. Consult the table below. Corresponds to the chosen type. You have the spells listed for your druid level and level lore prepared. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. As a magic action, you can expand natural recovery. You can cast 1 that you have prepared from your circle spell feature without expanding the spell slot. You must finish a long rest. In addition, when you finish a short rest, you can choose expanded spell slots to recover. Okay. Nature's Ward. Poison. Sanctuary. Neat. Huh. Okay. What about Circle of the Moon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why are you getting 6 spells?
The balance is so weird. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, fucking 10. Why does Circle of the Sea get 10? Circle of the Stars gets none. You've created a star chart as part of your heavenly studies. It is a tiny object, blah, blah, blah. While holding the map, guidance and guiding bolt. Cast guiding bolt without expending a spell slot. You can cast it again this way a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier. You gain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. If you lose the map, you perform 1 hour ceremony to magically recreate a replacement. The ceremony can be performed at short or long rest, and it destroys the previous map. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. The scaffold is like that. All right, I'm thinking. The Druid is its own mess. The Bard's got nothing going on right now. Illusionist. So we got rid of the schools of magic. So calling you an illusionist basically like puts you in the blue space. Because illusions is blue magic. Abjuration is white magic. Evocation is generally red magic. Divination is also blue. White, blue, red, blue. Okay, so the way that oh, here, let me show you. Let's go down to the color mana system here. And let's peel open Core Mechanics book. Preview. Let's back up to Wizards. So the way that we built it was we had a wizard, we had a color for each. Green magic, red magic, black magic, blue magic, and white magic. There's my timer. Let me take a sip of water. Check my clock. All right, we're at 11 o'clock. So instead of the schools of magic, instead of being an abjurer, you become a white wizard. Instead of an illusionist, you become a blue wizard. Instead of an invoker, you become a red wizard. So we had the 5 schools here that replaced the 4 schools of magic we had there. That doesn't take into account like Blade Singer or like War Mage, stuff like that. Those are things that we can address separately at future times. It's possible that we don't actually have to change any of this stuff, that we can leave it be. One of the changes that we would make, though, now I'm thinking Savant. It will be like a white Savant. Choose 2 wizard spells, each of which must be no higher than level 2, and add them to your spellbook for free. In addition, when you gain access to a new level of spell slots in this class, you can add 1 wizard spell from the divination school to your spellbook for free. The chosen spell must be of a level for which you have spell slots. We're going to change that. Okay, this is so we'll go with you don't have these. We're figuring it out. Hold on. Magical Devoted Savant.
Okay, so for those that were here yesterday or a couple hundred episodes in the past or earlier today, when we were talking about the color mana system, this will become relevant really quickly. So let's take this back real quick. We were talking about how to use color mana with your system. So, and again, to readdress the situation, like Alter Self is blue and red magic in general because of the tenets of magic here. And so this is it's a second level spell, and you need to spend 2 mana, but only 1 point needs to be blue or red, your choice, and the other point can be whatever you want. So, and then we said that like if you're limited to like say white and green magic and you want Alter Self, then it's naturally devoted to blue and red, so you could learn it that way. But if you don't have blue or red mana, you could learn it again. You can prepare it twice, once naturally, and then second time to modify it to be any color that you want, if you're assigning colors to specific spell points. You could just say Alter Self is blue or red. Cool, I cast the spell and I do blue magic effects as my description. There you go. You know, if anyone asks. But otherwise, I'm just spending points to cast a spell like you would in normal D&D spell points. But if you want to make it hard on yourself, you assign a color to each point of mana, and when I run out of blue and red magic, mana, I can't cast Alter Self anymore. If I wanted to have, like, say, a pure white wizard, then I would naturally only have access to the wizard spells that are white. Or I could learn any other wizard spell twice to bend them into the white magic pool for me to have a single color in my magic pool as a ludonarrative mechanical idea. And of course, you can spend downtime and gold to research a spell that you already know and make it the color that you want. Otherwise, you could research a spell you don't know in its native color, and then you research it again to make it the color that you want at half cost. So you have ways of spending gold to be able to sculpt your mana pool, or to sculpt your spell list, so that it aligns with your mana pool. Otherwise, you have to devote your mana to match the spells that you want. And depending on what kind of a campaign that you want, you'll either have access to all 5 colors, like in a Dominaria campaign or Phyrexia campaign, or like even an Ikoria campaign, where there's no like real deep color identity with culture. You're free to have just multiple colors. But if you get something that's super culturally intense, like Ravnica, for instance, is very intense, devoted, like a Boros character only uses white and red magic. So if I want a blue spell as a Boros character, I need to get, say, blindness and deafness, which is normally a black spell. For me to get onto Boros, I have to somehow get access to it to be either white or red or both, which I can research it, or I can just prepare it twice, like we just discussed. So here's the idea for the feature that we have for the Devoted Savant. It goes like this. Choose 2 wizard spells each of which must be no higher than level 2, and add them to your spellbook for free. These spells can be devoted to any color you choose. Let's word that differently. These spells remain devoted to the... Devote means the color that they're aligned with, right? But we're not using alignment. We call it devotion. That's a Magic the Gathering term from Theros. Devotion means the number of cards that you have on the table that all are like blue cards or red cards. The more red, like a red land card is worth 1 pip. And then like a spell that requires 5 mana, that's worth 5 red pips. So Like if I have 1 mountain card and that spell for 5 mana, for 5 red mana on the board, I have a devotion of 6 mana on the table, which is important to different cards in the Theros game. So here, so devotion means what color are you identified with? Like if my Rakdos character is devoted to black and red mana because he's a Rakdos character. Rakdos is devoted to black and red. So there you go. So choose 2 wizard spells, each of which must be no higher than level 2, and add them to your spellbook for free. These spells remain devoted to their natural colors. And what that means is the term natural means the spell list that we're looking at, what colors those spells are naturally devoted to. So these spells remain devoted to their natural colors, and you can choose 1 additional color for these spells to be devoted to. For example, if we go back to blindness and deafness, if I chose, I don't know if blindness and deafness is a wizard spell, but assuming that it is, if I chose that, if I'm a Rakdos character, then blindness and deafness is naturally black, and Rakdos is black and red, no problem. But if I am a Boros character with white and red mana only, and I want blindness and deafness, as a wizard, I can pick blindness and deafness, add it to my spellbook, and I can make it any color that I want. In addition to being black and red, it can now also be like, say, white or green or black, red, white, and green and blue. There you go. So there. In addition, whenever you gain access to a new spell, a new level of spells, whenever you gain access to a new level of spells in this class, you can add 1 wizard spell from the divination you can add 1 wizard spell to your spell list, spellbook for free. The chosen spell must be of a level with which you have spell slots. Up to the max level spell you can cast as a wizard to your spellbook for free. Access to a new level of spells, you can add 1 additional spell and yada yada. I'm just gonna write yada yada because I don't want to fuck around right now with figuring out what that language is supposed to be. Right now, I just want to get the gist of it in. So right now, it looks like devoted savant. I'm not sure what we're gonna call this thing yet. I'm not hating this. So far things are still lining up. So what I'm choking on right now is an observation that I made before, which is each of the colors. Like if I were to convert these if I just devote these schools to colors, like red can mean a lot of different things. Red. Oops, I'm about to fuck up my chair again. It's caught up in the cords. I did this yesterday. Just about pop my chair free into chaos. So I'm gonna fix that real quick here. Sorry, I've got a heating pad on the back of my chair, and the cord keeps getting caught up in the wheels because I spin a lot. There.
fixed.
Like divination magic, that feels very blue. Illusion is also incredibly blue. Illusion doesn't really belong anywhere else. Fear effects and darkness and stuff can be illusion magic, but that's like black energy, but it's not necessarily illusion. So there's we have, like I said, we have all these subclasses that we've already built, and it looks like they may have to remain, but I'm not 100% happy with how they, like, quote unquote typecast what each of the color is, you know, not to be punny, but it typecasts the role of each of these colors, and I'm not 100% satisfied with that solution. It's the logical way to get around divination and stuff like that. It's like if the magic paradigm is the 8 schools of magic, it makes sense that they would present 8 different subclasses, one for each school, because that's how the wizard lives, right? But it doesn't necessarily have to, because of war mage and all that other shit. Scribe, blah blah blah. So translating that into white makes sense, but all of the subclasses, like all classes, have that same 5 color mana expression. So like, why would wizard have like a white wizard while a cleric is going to like not have like a white cleric? It'll be like a domain of war or domain of law or whatever. It's not playing by those same rules. So I don't necessarily want to play by those same rules either. But I could... I could still potentially, like, take illusion spells and then make them whatever color that you want. And then we could have the illusionist themed around that idea. It could be that this color solution is the best solution we already have, and then we create deviations from it from there. Like green wizard isn't something that you typically think about. It's a very nature-ish sort of druid, or like a druidy sort of idea. Red is very much wizardly iconic as an evoker. So I guess, and then black as like a necromancy fear sort of effect. So okay, great. So let's explore that. Let's explore that space again. Let's go with white, blue, black, red, green equals nature equals evocation stuff equals fear, necromancy equals divination, illusion, abjuration, conjuration. Green is also kind of conjuration-y. Evocation. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. What am I missing? Transmutation. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What am I missing? I'm missing one. Divination, abjuration, conjuration, transmutation, abjuration, evocation, conjuration, transmutation, illusion. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What the fuck am I missing? I know I'm missing something. Divination. 6, 7. I want to try to remember it on my own. I don't want to have to look it up. Alteration is transmutation. Abjuration, conjuration, divination, evocation, illusion. What am I forgetting? I'm missing something. Oops, didn't mean to close that. Reopen. All right, I give up. 8. I can't believe I've forgotten. Oh, alteration is its own fucking thing. 1, 2. That's 6. Invocation. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, enchantment. God damn it. Abjuration. Conjuration. Alteration. Invocation. Enchantment. Abjuration, conjuration, alteration, conjuration, invocation, alteration, necromancy, enchantment, divination, and illusion. You could argue that divination could sit in white. 1, 2, 3, okay. I'm thinking Easter. Hold on. Okay, maybe, what if I do this? What if I can try to tack on a third? Where are we at? Cool, we got 40 minutes. Perfect. Invocation, alteration, enchantment, maybe. Alteration, conjuration, nope, we're gonna leave it like that. Abjuration is unique, divination and illusion are unique, necromancy is unique, invocation is unique. Green is the only one that doesn't have anything unique to it, alteration and conjuration. But conjuration and alteration are the only two that are duplicated. So there is that. Okay, I think that's okay. That's a decent mix. Okay, cool. So using this frame of reference a abjuration spell, we could take two. We could take any two So what do we got? Hold on. Abjurer is white only. Diviner is blue only. Evoker is invocation only, that's red. And then illusion is sadly also blue. Alright, that breaks down. What if we did this instead? Does that feel good? Protection and Divine, that feels good. Enchantment and Illusion, that feels pretty good. Is counter, what color is Counterspell? Or what school is Counterspell? If it's Abjuration, this is fucked. So let's find out. Let's clop that out of the way. Let's go back to top. This is fun. I'm getting a gist. I'm getting a sense here. So let's go to our tools. No, game rules, spells. What are you? Abjuration. Problem. What about Dispel Magic? Oh, you know what I meant. Abjuration. Let's look at reset. Let's go to advanced. School. Let's look at enchantment. Let's see what that does. Bless, befuddlement, calm emotions, catnap, person command. Okay. Interesting. Invocation, enchantment. Enchantment and necromancy makes sense. Abjuration is making a lot of sense for blue now in comparison. Dissonant Whisper. Stuff kind of makes sense. Enchantment Necromancy makes a lot of sense now. Is Fear. Dominate. Enemies Abound. This is all black and red shit. Fits pretty nicely. Fear is not in here, though. I don't know what Fear is. You know what I meant. Fear is illusion. Interesting. How do we have it listed? Pretty sure fear is straight. Is it black and red? I think that's true. Yeah, black and red. Is an illusion spell. Huh. Okay, I'll disagree. I'll agree to disagree with that. This is starting to feel pretty solid though. Druid. Conjure, transmutation. Yeah, let's get our transmutation spells. So element, aid, air bubble, animal friendship. No, filter. Thank you. Alter self. Animal shapes, animate objects, stride, awaken, bark skin. Yeah, there's not a lot of crossover sensibility here. But I like this idea. What's let's see. H is for haste. What is it gonna be, a 3? E, F, G. Is haste on this list? Haste. Transmutation. It's not perfect, that's for sure. Divination, illusion, enchantment. I like this spread better though. Okay, so let's go back in our. I'm starting. Yeah, devoted savant. Let's go with white savant. Choose 2 wizard spells, each of which must be no higher than level 2, and add them to your spell book for free. These spells remain devoted to their natural colors, and you can choose one addition. And these spells can always are devoted to white magic for you. You can add one additional spell up to the max level that you can cast as a wizard to your spell book this way for free. Wizard subclasses, let's go with White wizard. Let's go back here. I'm gonna open up a second tab with the core mechanics book open. Full size. Tenth level. There, tradition of white magic. 21. That's 15. 18. Tradition of white magic. Features. Spell a white savant. Choose 2 wizard spells, each of which must be no higher than level 2, and add them to your spell book for free. These spells are devoted to white magic for you. Okay. So add that there, handy dandy. Features, White Savant, level 3, level 6, 10, 14. Green magic. Red magic. No. Red. Black. Red. Green. Good. Black. Blue. Blue. Cool. Obviously, for blue magic, we're going to give Dispel and Counter Magic to the blue wizard because blue. Where is that going to be at? Spellbreaker. That's level 10. Spellbreaker. One? Yeah. 2. And spell resistance. Spell resistance makes sense for white. We're going to get rid of the stuff that we don't have. And we're going to take this, drop it into here. You always have the counter spell and dispel magic spells prepared. In addition, that. This feels good. This feels very, 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 very good. After that, drop this. So we're just gonna start filling in blanks. That's what we're gonna do. Like the arcane shield we'll put on white because a shield feels like ward of protection. That's incredibly white. Protection from color, very, very white magic. So the wards will go in white for sure. And then blue we got the breaker. Black we got the savant. We'll go to level 6. Get rid of that. through a process. It's a process. 1, 2, bop, bop, bop. Burp. There. 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 And then green. 1, 2, good. There. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. That. There. Okay, cool. So now we can just start scaffolding and shit. Take what we need, leave the rest. Red, blue. We're working on blue right now, Spellbreaker. You always have the counterspell and dispel magic spells prepared. In addition, you can cast Dispel Magic as a bonus action, and you can add your proficiency bonus to its ability check. When you cast either spell, with a spell slot, that slot isn't expended if the spell fails to stop a spell. Jesus fuck. When you cast either spell with mana, when you expend mana to cast either spell, if the spell fails to stop the spell, the mana is returned to your mana pool. Mana pool is a term used for where your mana is at when you recover it. Because so you have mana in your pool. Okay, so here let me show you the scaffold. Here's the workflow of mana. Let me go to there it is. Let's go to our playmat. Here we go. Here's our playmat. So this is something you can print out like for the back of your character sheet, right? Shows you how much mana you have, the max spell level you can cast at, how many castings of high magic you have per day, total mana recovered at the end of a short rest, and then sorcery points. These are going to be corrected because we have absorbed sorcery points. That doesn't matter anymore. And we're resolving short versus long rest. We're going to change the language on that to be a little bit more like recovery, SL. So you have your mana pool, where your mana is stored at, and then you tap mana to concentrate and to maintain concentration. And you can have as much mana tapped equal to your max spell level. So if I'm a 5th level sorcerer, I can have up to 3rd level spells, which means I can concentrate on and maintain concentration for up to 3 mana worth of spells. It could be a single 3rd level spell, it could be 3 1st level spells, or it could be a 1st and a 2nd level spell. But a total is 3. And again, like we talked about with the attrition concentration mechanics, your concentration DC is 10 plus however much mana you have tapped. So if I have 3 mana worth of spells that I'm concentrating on, my DC is 13, and that number is compared against any saving throw that I make, whether it's because I take damage and I'm maintaining concentration, I make a Constitution saving throw, or if I'm hit with a fireball and I have to make a dexterity saving throw, I get hit with a maze spell and I have to make an intelligence saving throw. It doesn't matter. Any saving throw that I make, if the result of that saving throw is less than 10 plus the amount of mana that I'm maintaining, all that mana is dumped, even if I succeed on the saving throw. So it's very, I think the word is pernicious. I'm going to look up the word pernicious because I feel smart. Define pernicious. Having a harmful effect, especially in a gradual or subtle way. Nah, pernicious is the wrong word. It's dangerous. Anyway, tap mana isn't burned or in your pool. We're replacing tap, untap, and burn. We're going to keep the term tap. We're getting rid of the word burn. We're just going to call it expended because that's the language that they're using in the player's handbook now. So we're going to change the title of the book from tap, untap, burn. We're just going to make it color mana spell points. just to simplify it. That's actually what Hidden Dave, my original editor for this project, that's what he suggested that I do, and I ignored him. And then 7 years later, Hidden, you're totally fucking right, my dude. So cheers to you. But yeah, so you have mana in your mana pool, and then while it's tapped, you're concentrating on stuff. Rituals. You can instead of casting a spell as a ritual, you can make it simple magic. And the way that simple magic works is that when you cast the spell, you're going to maintain concentration on it. And if you dismiss the spell without having your concentration disrupted, you regain the mana. You put the mana back in your mana pool. So like if I want to cast Identify, which is a ritual that takes 10 minutes, right? Instead, I can cast Identify for 1 mana as a simple magic and maintain concentration on it while I'm performing it. If I succeed, it's quicker, but it also risks that I have to make a saving throw along the way at some point for some reason, and I botch the roll, then I'll burn the mana. If everything goes without a hitch, then I can just reclaim the mana. It's a low risk. It's faster, but it has minimal risk. So it's a way to make like Tensor's Floating Disc, for example, is a ritual spell, or it costs 1 mana. I could just create a Tensor's Floating Disc and maintain concentration on it, and if my concentration fails, the disc disappears, and whatever was carrying spills to the floor. I could, if I have to, perform it as a ritual, which takes longer, but it's no longer something I maintain concentration on. It's not something that lasts typically an hour. So depending on how you want to work it, ritual spells can be done that way. Up to I want to say at the 3rd level. Yeah, pretty sure up to 3rd level. So anyway, I was just taking a look at this. Let's go back to our table of contents, and then we'll go back to our wizard classes, so we can continue feeding through what these things are. So let's keep on with it. I love doing this. This shit's so much fun. Oh crap. Okay, only got 15 minutes left today. We'll probably be working on this later today. On Monday. But Spellbreaker, that makes perfect sense. And spell resistance, you have advantage on saving throws against spells, and you have resistance to the damage of spells. Jesus, that's so good. Spell resistance. That's definitely a white thing for the warding effect, right? Spell resistance, right. Spellbreakers resolve, spell resistance, projected ward. Okay, and the wards, those go to white as well. Let's grab the language. Cutty pasty. Oops. You can weave magic around yourself for protection. When you cast a white spell, when you expend mana to cast a white spell, you can simultaneously use a strand of the spells. Okay, so here's a fun thing. So is it when you cast a spell devoted to white, or is it I simply cast a spell using white magic? I could throw a red fireball using 1 point of red and 2 points of white mana, and I can still cast fireball, because that's 3 points of mana, only one of which has to be red to cast the red spell. If the other 2 points are white mana, that could trigger Arcane Ward, because when you expend white mana to cast to cast a white spell means that it is a spell devoted to white. But what if instead we made it when you expend white mana to cast a spell, you can simultaneously use a strand of the spell's magic to create. You can use a strand of the white magic to create a magical ward on yourself that lasts until you finish a long rest. My hair's caught up in my microphone. The ward has a hit point maximum equal to twice your wizard level plus your intelligence modifier. Whenever you take damage, the ward takes the damage instead. And if you have any resistances or vulnerabilities, apply them before reducing the ward's hit points. If the damage reduces the ward to 0 hit points, you take any remaining damage. While the ward has 0 hit points, it can't absorb damage, but its magic remains. Whenever you cast a spell with white mana, the ward regains a number of hit points equal to twice the white mana expended. Something's weird in that wording. The ward regains a number of hit points equal to twice the level of the spell slot. Alternatively, as a bonus action, you can expend a spell slot and the ward regains alternatively. Whenever you cast an abjuration spell with a spell slot, the ward regains a number of hit points equal to twice the white mana expended. Period. Alternatively, as a bonus action, you can expend mana up to your max spell level to regain and the ward regains hit points equal to twice the white mana expended. That is a sloppy fucking language. Once you create a ward, you can't create it again until you finish a long rest. Once you create a ward, you can't create one again until you finish a long rest. Alternatively, as a bonus action, you can expend white mana up to your max spell level to regain twice to restore twice as many hit points to your ward. Period. There you go. New and improved. Requires white mana, but is super flexible. All you gotta do is spend the mana. It doesn't even have to be a white spell. So you could technically be a Rakdos character that packs a bunch of white in the background. that you don't use to cast any spells, but you use it as side mana to. That's a way that you could like have like a white battery of mana on your character. You're casting red and black spells, and you can fill in the extra bits with white mana if you wanted to. But you wouldn't obviously be able to cast first level spells that way. So this is really specializing into a white magic character, which is the way it should be. So white savant, cool. Let's resolve projected ward real quick. When a creature that you can see within 30 feet of yourself takes damage, you can take a reaction to cause your arcane ward to absorb that damage. If this damage reduces the ward to 0 hit points, the warded creature takes any remaining damage. If that creature has any resistances or vulnerabilities, apply them before reducing the ward's hit points, period. There you go. Now all we gotta do is check to see, does the third level have an additional flavor to it? There's the savant, and that's it. Insert flavor text. Okay, white magic is resolved. Now let's go to blue. We have our variant feature here resolved already. Let's go up top here and keep an eye on our abjuration and illusion activity for blue. We haven't done anything with divination there, so it looks like divination is just going to get cut out unless we... Thinking things through. Okay. So we've resolved Abjure. It's been completely holed out. Let's go to Diviner. Diviner is typically going to be assigned to white because of divination. That's resolved. There's Portent, Expert Divination, Third Eye, Greater Portent. Third Eye. Let's traipse past that. Let's just go to the tradition of. Let's go to red. Insert flavor text. Level 6. Wait. 14, 10, 6. When do we gain? Okay, here's an example. When do we gain potent cantrip? Do we get it at 3rd level with evocation? Because P comes after E. Or do we gain it at 6th level with Sculpt Spell, because P comes before S? Which is it? They haven't provided us with any spell levels or any levels in which we gain these abilities. So if this is the first time that you've looked at D&D, you don't fucking know what level do I gain Potent Cantrip at. It doesn't tell me. This is an incomplete document. What the fuck? Let's see if I already know the answer by looking at our list of red shit. Fuck you guys, man. Sculpt Spell is 6. I guess I have to go back to Legacy, huh? Because they can't tell me. They want people to pay for this, and it's insulting. This level of incompetence is what I expect from a 17-year-old designer that is their first time giving it a shot. I say 17-year-old because, well, not to disparage older people, but I expect the younger you are, the more likely it is that you are to overlook a nuance. Wizard. Evocation. 6th level, thank you. And Sculpt Spell was 2nd. I really don't know what level. I'm going to assume Potent Cantrip comes in at 3rd, and Sculpt Spell is 6. But God, that's fucking frustrating. To avoid the burn of the effect, when you cast a cantrip at a creature and you miss with the attack roll, or the target succeeds on a saving throw against the cantrip, the target takes half the cantrip's damage, but suffers no additional effects. Your damaging cantrips affect even creatures that avoid the brunt of the effect. When you cast a cantrip at a creature and miss with the attack roll, or the target succeeds on a saving throw against the cantrip, the target takes half the cantrip's damage, if any, but suffers no additional effects. That's fine. Potent cantrip. Get rid of your flavor text. I'm okay with that. Level 6 is Sculpt Spell. Spell that affects other creatures you can see. You can choose a number of creatures equal to 1 plus the spell's level. Interesting. V-A cut. Paste. You can choose a number of them equal to 1 plus the spell's level. A saving throw against spells, and they take no damage. If they would normally take half damage on a successful spell. That's a pseudo protection ability. It's like a ward, and it's reshaping stuff, which is transmutation. Is transmutation a signature for red? It is not. Transmutation is a signature for green. So let's be bold, and instead take Sculpt Spell and drop it down to green. Copy. Come on, buddy. Thank you. Erase all that. Erase that. I feel like I broke my mouse. Come on, dude. Yep, Sculpt Spell. That feels... Let's, I have to hang up here like in a couple minutes. But I want to go back real quick and look at green. I mean, red obviously deals a lot of damage. So let's see if we can identify some neat because we know that red has a lot of AoE stuff in it. That Sculpt Spell would make a lot of sense for. But let's look at green as well, just to see if there's a slew of stuff. All right, Agathis, Chromatic Orb, create, destroy, cure, detect, ensnaring strike, entangle is a good one. No, that's a single target. Never mind. Expeditious, Fog Cloud, Hellish, Hunter's Mark. Probably not going to start seeing stuff until third. Thunder Wave. Fine Steed, Gust of Wind. Melf's Acid Arrow. Moonbeam.
Okay.
Yeah. When you cast a spell, when you expend green mana while casting a spell, that affects other creatures that you can see. You can choose a number of them equal to 1 plus the amount of green mana expended. The chosen creature automatically succeeds on their saving throw against the spell, and they take no damage if they would normally take half damage on a successful save. 1 plus the amount of green mana expended. So this gives you a reason to bend spells into the green pool. If they're like a 1 mana spell and they normally wouldn't be green. I like that a lot. I like that very, very much. We might upgrade Potent Cantrip. Okay, cool. So I'm going to just bend for a second here and see if I can sit inside this space. Empowered Invocations. When you cast a wizard spell from the Invocation School, you can add your intelligence modifier to the damage of that roll. A cut Empowered Invocation. Whenever you cast a wizard spell, whenever you expend red mana to cast a wizard spell, you can add your intelligence modifier to 1 damage roll of that spell. And then over channel, you can increase the power of your spell with your cast a wizard spell by spell slot level 1 to 5. It deals damage. You can deal maximum damage with that spell on a turn you cast it. The first time you do so, you suffer no adverse effect. We get this at 14th level. The first time you do so, you suffer no adverse effect. If you use this feature again, on the turn you cast it. Over channel. Whenever you cast a spell devoted to red magic with only when you expend only red mana to cast a wizard spell, whenever you cast a common magic spell by expending only red mana. You deal maximum damage. Common magic, again, is only up to 5th level. And normally you only have to spend 1 point of mana in red to cast any red. So like a fireball, it requires 3 mana and it only requires 1 mana and then 2 of any other color. In this circumstance, if all 3 mana are red, then it'll be maximum damage. And you can do this a number of times. The necrotic damage per spell level increases by d12. That's d12 necrotic damage is not a good compensation for an overchanneling ability. Whenever you can the way that I want to word it is that once you have expended red mana equal to the maximum level spell you can cast, you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest. So what I'm trying to say there is that's at 14th level you have up to 7th level spells, which means that if you've used 7 red mana to utilize Overchannel, once you've used that 7 mana, you can't use it again. So that means that you could cast 7 first level spells using only red mana. All 7 of those spells will deal maximum damage because they're only first level castings. And it's only up to 5th level spells. So I could then cast, say, 1/3 of 3rd level Fireball, which will be maximized, and then I could upcast a 3rd level Fireball using just red mana, and that would be maximized. But that 3rd level casting and 4th level casting caps all the damage for the day. There you go. So using mana is an interest. It's the color of mana that you use and how much mana you use bends how these abilities can be implemented. So there's that idea. We're still short here. Empowered invocations. I'm just gonna, you know what? For now, I'm just gonna fucking drop potent cantrips. Fuck you. I don't need to have that in there. These are good. These are just universally good. Oh man, I'm really enjoying this. So we're going to end up with a couple of holes here. Like we've got Tradition of Red Magic doesn't have a thing yet. But we have the entire divination school with portent and stuff like that we can distribute, and like you know, Wizard's Eye and shit. We haven't done black yet. We've done a piece of blue so far, but we've resolved Evoker and Abjurer. So let's go up here. Abjurer, Evoker. Did we use something else? I don't think so. I think we sapped everything out of that. Let's double check real quick. Word is gone. Projected word is gone. Spellbreaker is gone. Spell resistance is gone. Sculpt is gone. Empowered evocations is gone. Overchannel is gone. I haven't used Illusionist at all yet. Untouched. Illusionist. So we have Diviner and Illusionist to pull from. We've already drained the Abjuran Evoker. So we have Diviner and Illusionist to play with still. Tradition of White Magic is done. Done. Three and 10. Three, 10, done. Need 6, 14. Need 6, 10, 14. I think red is completely done, right? We just finished it, yeah? No, red still needs a 10. Need 10. Need 10 and 14. Cool. So we are still looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 features. We're looking for 8 features. Yeah. Okay, cool. So when we come back on Monday, we should probably be able to finish this Monday night. And if not, Tuesday for sure. So that'll take it. I'm really enjoying this redesign. This is so far a lot of fun. It's we've been playing around with mana for a long time, and over the past 7 years, we've gotten a much better understanding of just how how the color magic system works with D&D in general. And I gotta say, 2024 books have done nothing but just add opportunity for us. Like 24 has only added opportunities for us to make these classes better. So I'm legitimately excited about this. But that is it for today. I am Dunzo. It is 12:15. It is time for me to bounce out of here. I will be gone for the rest of the day. I will be back tomorrow. No, I'll be back on Monday morning to continue Eberron art. So I'll catch you guys on the other side. Y'all have a great day. Thanks a lot.